Hello, everyone, and welcome to round two, or fuck my life. Damn it. All right, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Moto 2 of Portland GP, round number 11, the HRL IndyHog season, the second to last road course that we'll have on the season. Only one more of those tracks, Laguna Seca at the very end. Let's go through the starting lineup. We've got Coop, Hunter, Vulcan, Armada, Camby, Luke, Detail, Soul, and Slaunch. Bringing up the rear in this one, trying to hold on to a good finish. Try to take another overall and be his second of the season if he can do it. Green flag, 18 laps again, 37 on the checkpoints. And obviously, we always bring it up, these Moto 2s, always going to be spicy. You get that invert, and especially on tracks like this one where it's very tight. Something that I've said about this track a lot in the past that I may have forgot to mention in the first Moto, I'm not sure, is that this track almost feels... It feels the most like a street track of all the road courses. Like this one, there are areas where it's quite open, but a lot of it feels pretty enclosed. So even though it's technically a road course and it fits into that, it's a very flat track, and again, it's very enclosed in a lot of it too. So it feels very much so like the street tracks that we race, and very similar to those. So that's something that will especially make this Moto 2 very, very spicy. It's going to be really difficult for these drivers. It's going to be very hard to, make these passes happen. And it should be fun to watch, see how everything plays out with that invert. Oh, some big wall contact right there. Slaunch going for some moves in the back, and a lot of moves trying to be made all around the track. Many two wides that we've got going on right now. This is Coop and Luke right there. That's for third, I believe. So I think, yeah, because I think Armada's in second, and Hunter has worked his way out to a big gap in the lead right now. And that'd be huge for Hunter. It'd be funny. Hunter is coming off of an overall win at Iowa. I should have mentioned that in the first race probably, but yeah, the fun thing with him leading is he brought up in the comments there a stat, and I didn't double check it, but I'm pretty sure he's right. But that he checked his stats with his overall win at Iowa, and he said that it's his first overall win since season 4 of Halo 5, which I remembered which race it was. It was the Barvo race of that season. I knew that. I just didn't know that was his last one. That's what kind of surprised me about it. But yeah, according to him, and I'm pretty sure he's right, that was his last overall win. So this last one that he got at Iowa the previous week, that was his first overall since that season of Halo 5, which I believe is like summer-ish of like 2017. So it's been a long time. So it's pretty crazy. That's just like a wild stat. And Hunter's gotten Moto wins. He's gotten Moto wins for sure in the meantime. And he tends to get at least one and, a couple here or there throughout a year. But it was the first time that he's gotten an overall since then, which is pretty freaking wild. So yeah, that's another cool stat about the last race. Big moves being made in the back here. But yeah, just another cool stat that makes that last week race pretty special. Adding on to how crazy the races were as well, especially going back to that like Moto 2 6 wide to the finish. Like that's a screenshot. That's a screenshot. That'll definitely be one a moment that this season will be remembered for, probably. Really big battle going on in the back. Soul, Vulcan, and Camby just absolutely going at it. And that's the interesting thing with these inverts as well, is you get these drivers that have pace. You get them in the back near each other, and that can happen too, where it's the opposite of what you'd have in some situations. Like, normally the passes get harder as you go up the field, but it can be the opposite in these Moto 2s. And sometimes it's just about getting around those fast people that are just like right in front of you, and then that can make a big difference, and something that switches things up. Early pits coming in. Slaunch, okay, I get it. Slaunch going in for some early pit strategy. Makes sense. He made some moves, but maybe not as many as he wanted to, so just trying to get some clean air, take advantage of that. So him going for a very, very early pit strategy here. And the battle for the lead is on. Luke in second, trying to work by Hunter, and if he can make this pass quickly, I mean, this would be a huge move right here. If he could make it pretty quickly, but a little bit of rock contact going to slow him down a bit. But Hunter has a huge drift on the exit, and Luke's going to carry the speed all the way to the chicane. Oh, and just a little cheesing right there in the rock, and that's going to slow him down a bit. So now Luke's going to go back to third and lose some time, and that's going to be a huge moment right there. But now it's Detail. He's the one trying to take advantage of the situation, trying to make the pass on Hunter. Oh no, and a rock contact and a flip for him as well. And we're going to get a replay on this one. Let's take a look at what happened here. So you see the run come down the front straightaway. Huge run. They go into the turn. Maybe some slow-mo action. Oh, yeah. And you could see, like, Hunter coming to the side. It looked like Detail had it lined up, but Hunter came into the side and got into the side of Detail, and it, like, kind of pushed him into the rock, and that's brutal. So that's some big wrecks right there for them. Like, them being in that position, if they could get by Hunter quickly right there, Luke and Detail both be in a very strong position for this race. You know, even with Slaunch taking a little bit longer to get through the field, even though he's, you know, doing that pit strategy, getting that clean air. Like, if they could make that move right there, that'd be huge. But those incidents right there mixes it up, and I honestly think Slaunch now, like, if they made that start happen, even with Slaunch's speed, I think it was going to be a pretty tough ask for him to, you know, get back in winning position. But with those incidents there, I don't think so anymore. I think he's still got, I think he's got a very good shot now, and it's very possible that he could, you know, not only take the overall, but that the sweep could still be on. Oh, and Detail decides to go for the pit there. Interesting. I think he makes a late decision, goes for the pit. Luke, on the other hand, going for the move. And is going to complete it. This time, he's going to complete it. So Luke's going to get around Hunter, try to take advantage of that the best that he can. Interesting play call out of Detail. It looked like a late decision. I'm not sure. And this puts him out in front of Slaunch, which is maybe a nice thing for him, since Slaunch is very fast, like knowing where he is on the track. And having that, like, comparison, maybe that's a nice advantage that he has in his current position as well. But also, you don't want to come up behind him, so he comes out, like, right in front of that pack of other early pitters, which, again, is just something that's going to work to his favor and, you know, something that he loves to see right there. So Detail with very good pit timing on his first pit, it seems, in both races. Hunter's still in a good position, even after losing the lead to Luke. But Armada trying to make a move around the inside. He doesn't have that inside hooked up as well as some of the other drivers. I think that was maybe Vulcan. It was hard for me to tell. Can Armada make it happen? Oh, running out of room. Yeah. That's another thing that, I mean, even though I have it for the pit exit, that's another thing that I might change is that wall. People getting into that wall. That's not the only time that we saw that. It happened a few times. If we raced this track again, I think that's another improvement that I'd make, is I think I would maybe move the pit exit wall, that particular one, back a little bit. And then maybe even put like some like exit rumble there or something, because you can make, you know, or sorry, you could make passes around the outside right there carrying enough momentum. Like, that's a possibility that like could happen, but it's very hard to do because that wall contact happens a lot. So that's another thing. Like, if we ever race this track again in the future, that's an idea that I think would be pretty neat if I you know, moved that wall back and then maybe added like some exit rumble right there. To, you know, hopefully, like, soften the blow if it gets a little bit too close to the wall there. That's a little change that I think I could do. So just some, again, I don't know if we'll ever race this track, but, again, but just, yeah, it's one of those things, like, whenever it's my track, I always like to go through and think about that stuff. Because there's always things, like, you can test, right? You could test for thousands of hours. It doesn't matter. There's always stuff where, you know, you think your track will, you know, you think it's fine, you think it's perfect, you think you've done everything you wanted to do, you know, you think you've covered all the ground, you think you've done all the ideas, or tried all the ideas, and then you get to the race, and then, like, 5 laps into a freaking heat race, you're like, ah, shit, what if I would have done this here? Like, that's, you know, that stuff's just always, that's a little bit of insight to the forging side of it. That stuff's just always gonna happen. And that's why, like, you know, a lot of people still are, but I'd be, you know, pretty harsh on forging in the past, but I feel a lot for people in that, that help us out, and for all our forgers that helped us with the tracks in this schedule, and why I feel them. And when situations like that happen, where there's certain things where it's like, oh yeah, now that we're racing, like, obviously this would have been nice, but it's like kind of a hindsight thing. I always feel for them in those situations, because like sometimes there's certain things where it's like, okay, this should have been obvious. Like, for example, on this track, the pit entry, that should have been kind of obvious, but a few of the other things I think were not so obvious. So always feel for the forgers in those cases when there's those like not so obvious things that would, you know, maybe make the track a little bit better. But yeah, it's just hard to tell. And even then, even if you do like a test lobby, right? Like, even if you do a test lobby or like a test moto, even then you're not always gonna see everything. You're not always going to figure everything out. It's more... Oh, very close in that one. It's more pit action going in there. I think that was Armada in detail. But yeah, even with that, it's not always going to work. Like, I think that's something that all the people that, you know, that forge tracks for the season, I think that's something everybody could, like, see where I'm coming from and relate to what I'm talking about there, because I'm sure all of you guys, I have it too, you know, have those moments. Very close pit exit right there. That was big for Armada. Where, yeah, you just, like, you finish the track, you think you've covered everything, and then literally, like, 3 laps in, it could be a freaking heat race, and you're just like, ah, shit. Maybe I should have done this. Like, that just happens all the time, so. But yeah, and it's, oh no, Armada! Oh no! I'm glad that our cameraman detail caught this. Let's see what happened here. This is something I missed during the race. This is such an unfortunate moment for Sol. It's low-key an unfortunate moment for Armada, too. Armada trying to battle to the inside, trying to keep the battle going. He pops too much of a two-wheel, but he and Sol, like, I don't know if Armada would have saved it. He maybe would have saved it if Sol wasn't there. It's kind of hard to tell. We're going to get another replay, which I'm kind of down to see. It looks like Armada was letting off, so it looks like he may have saved it without Sol there, but I'm not sure. He might have needed Sol to be there to save it, but either way, you'll see he does end up doing it. It's just completely sideways, but he does bring it back down, but it's just at such an awkward angle. And that's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's not going to be a penalty on that, and it's just, it sucks. But that wasn't really, that's like a textbook racing incident right there. So if anybody's ever, like, confused what, like, a racing, I mean, there's different examples of them, right? But if anyone's ever confused over, like, what a racing incident, you know, is, or, like, what would be, I think that's a great example of a racing incident right there, because that wasn't, like, Armada wasn't trying to, you know, force Sol into the rock like that. Armada was just trying to defend his position, and he got a little too far into the rumble. He popped the two-wheel a little bit too much, lost control right in front of Sol, and when he got all of his tires back on the ground, it was just at an awkward angle. So, like, it really sucked for both of them. In some ways, you could say it sucked for Armada too, because if Sol wasn't there, there is a chance that Armada could have, you know, either saved it on his own or done, like, a perfect barrel roll and kept going. Like, it seems like the fact that they got hooked up actually kind of slowed them both down. So it was super unfortunate for both drivers. It was one of those things where they were both fighting for their position, both doing what they're supposed to be doing on the track, and it ended up costing both of them time. So, but yeah, I don't think, like, nothing intentional or, like, malicious or even like negligent there. I mean, that is just kind of unfortunate. But Sol eventually will complete the pass there, and he'll get in front of Armada, so he'll eventually make up for it a bit there and get in front of him and start to work on his own race again. But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. And Armada's, like, having a good, like, it was a good first moto. I think with the penalties, I'd have to go back and check. I'll do it real quick. Armada, let me see if I recall, did he? He did. He got a top 5, and Armada's been having, it's been a brutal season for him. He's had up and down success in the Hogs. You know, literally the year started off with him winning a moto and winning the overall at Hogtona. So, and he's had a lot of opportunities on the ovals in particular as well. Like, he's had many opportunities where, like, I genuinely think there's an alternate universe where Armada has, like, 3 more oval wins on Hogs after Hogtona. I genuinely think that's a thing. I mean, not even just even the Sunday races, like, even the Gooses, I remember there were some situations like that. But he just always seems to find himself in, like, a good position, and then something goes wrong. And especially this season, it's happened at least, like, 3 or 4 times where he's in a position for a good oval finish, and then just something happens on, like, literally the last lap or 2 to go, and he just loses it all. It's insane. But he's got 2 more ovals. He's got 2 more ovals left on the season. 2 more chances, 4 more motos to redeem himself, so there's still time there. And I do want to say at this moment, too, I'm very much so looking forward to, I believe we're doing the break, the Thanksgiving break still. We got some pit action coming in here. So late race, yeah, we're getting pretty close. Is it Hunter? Yeah, Hunter and Luke starting to go in for their pits. Starting to get later in the race. You know, they're still up there. So we're going to get an idea of these pit gaps pretty soon here, once they finally come in for their final pit stops. But next week, we've got 2 more. After this race, we've got 2 more ovals on the schedule. 1 more street track, 1 more road course. And the next oval is well, you know, now that I'm uploading it pretty late, like this week, and it's Pocono, and Pocono's been one that I've been talking about, and Opix gave us a preview before it was finished. It was, like, basically finished. It was raceable. It wasn't, like, finished. And the preview is sweet. It's a great example of, you know, Halo-ifying a track is what I said. Like, it's kind of like he took the characteristics of the real-life Pocono and just, like, amped them up, you know? Just like exaggerated them a little bit for Halo, so that, because you kind of have to. Like, it's hard to do those things, like, subtly in Halo and have it, like, really make a difference. Like, you kind of have to do that. You kind of have to amp them up. And here's the pit exit. And with the pit cycle, Detail goes to the lead, and it's close. Let's see. And Slaunch is just going to get, by about a hog length, going to get Luke. That's huge there. So Detail really impressing in the second moto, because he's got, I mean, even with that cheesing, I thought that would hurt him a lot, but he's got a massive gap. He must have had a really good race in this second moto. He came out close behind Slaunch on the initial pit too, so he must have just been putting in heaters all race. And yeah, Slaunch gets in front of Luke too, and it's one of those things where, like, looking back, that rock action might have been like a tie out of pit road, but you can't, you know, this is one of those things, like, you can't control. So now it's just going to be a battle. I think this is that case where, like, you know, Detail's kind of got it here, similar to how Slaunch had it in the first moto, and now it's a question of whether Luke can try to get up to Slaunch and try to, you know, track down that second place, because Detail's definitely got that first unlock, unless he, you know, sees a thick Latina on the side of the track, gets a little distracted. That's probably the only thing that could really stop him here. So we'll see if Luke can make anything happen in this second place battle, following Slaunch down the only elevation on the track, and a little bit of a different braking point. That kind of gives Slaunch a little bit of a gap there too. That kind of helped him a lot. Let's see if Luke can make it happen, get us some spice here for the end. But yeah, one more note on it. Just, yeah, that Pocono track, definitely, you know, looking forward to next week. Consider, like, showing to it and seeing the race. Like, it is a cool track. It's really cool. I'm really looking forward to that one. I have no idea how it's gonna race, but it's a cool track, so I don't really care. Like, it's a cool track. I think it'll be fun to race just for that alone. And yeah, it's one that I've been saying, like, throughout the whole season. Like, I wonder what he's gonna do for this. Finally, it's been made, and I think it's really cool, and I'm looking forward to the race. So here we go. I believe that's white flag. Detail basically, you know, essentially going around for the victory lap here. Luke trying to make that gap up on Slaunch. It looks like it might be too little too late. Very close, though. Interestingly enough, like, a closer top three, you know, sometimes it works out differently, but a closer top three battle in the Moto 2. I feel like a lot of this season it's been the opposite, but yeah, the Moto 2 actually produced a closer battle in the end. Very big pit strategy race, though. You know, they weren't together for most of it. And I think that gap's probably just going to be enough. It's now at, like, a 2-hog length. Like, I just think it's going to be enough. So here they come to the final turn. Last time around. And Detail is going to do it. Take his lucky number 7 Moto win on the season. Slaunch second, Luke third. We'll get those overall results as well. And Soul does work his way back to 4th. And Hunter 5th with a good race here as well. And then coming down to 6th place. Wow, what a finish. Coop in 6th place. Camby 7th. Camby got bit by, I want to say, an out-of-box penalty. Yep, it was. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So Camby would have, you know, could have been closer for that. But yeah, that out-of-box penalty not helping him there. And 8th place going to be Armada. 9th place going to be Vulcan. And we'll take a look at the finishing order here. So for the overall results, I'll go through it one more time, but second moto, Detail, Slaunch, Luke, Soul, Hunter, Coop, and Camby, Armada, and Vulcan. Yeah, shout out to Coop. That's a good finish for him. And then the overall results, a tie in points. Slaunch and Detail both walk away from Portland with 32 points, but Slaunch will get the tiebreaker with that great Moto 1 performance out of him. And, like, he had the plus minus, he had all that stuff, so Slaunch will get the tiebreaker. He'll get the overall. Slaunch's second overall on the season, starting to heat up here late. So he takes that overall, although it is a tie in points between them. So they both get a really nice gain, which is what they're looking for, trying to get back into that champ battle. Luke taking 3rd overall with 28 points. Soul taking 4th with 26, a good haul for him in his battle with Roman. Camby 5th with 21. Hunter 6th, that's Armada 7th. They all scored 21. And Coop 8th with 19. And Vulcan 9th with... Coop 8th with 19, Vulcan 9th with 18. So that rounds it out for the field. Good races here at Portland. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And definitely look forward to Pocono next week, I think it's going to be sweet. And thanks one more time, detailed covering the videos this week because I am a dum-dum. See you guys next week.